Welcome to ERTT Radio. I'm Mike, your host. Thanks for joining us. Well, sorry I've been out for the past couple of weeks. Got a lot of things going on my plate outside of the broadcast. But back with you this week. So let's dive right into the show. Been reading a lot of news articles, dealing a lot with money. And one of the latest developments is in California. They're trying to do a fast travel train, a bullet train, between San Francisco and Los Angeles. Okay, that may be all well and good, fast travel. Thumbs up, right? Here's my question. You got the entire state of California, which is pretty big, one of the bigger states. Why should they be using the entire state's budget to make a train that's only going to benefit anybody who lives between Los Angeles and San Francisco? That's it. That's all who's going to benefit from this. Yet you're using the taxes of every taxpayer in the entire state. Does that make sense? I mean, how would you feel? Okay, you spend all your money, in all the money in taxes, and they decide to use that to do something that doesn't benefit your community, your area. In fact, it all goes to one particular area to benefit them in two big cities that you don't live in. That would kind of irritate me. The city itself should raise its own taxes if it wants to make a deal with, okay, Mayor of San Francisco. We got a lot of commuters going back and forth between San Francisco and Los Angeles. Let's make a deal. Let's raise our taxes, get the money, and let's pay for fast travel. It'll boost the economies in both cities. Productivity will go up. We can, make money off the train with fares, etc. Be a good idea. San Francisco and Los Angeles, and any area in between that wants to benefit from this train, should get together, vote on it, and make a decision. This shouldn't be something that involves the entire state budget. I mean, frankly, it is a waste of money. They tried to do this in the state of Florida. Now, some of you know I used to live in Florida, and one of the things I have issues with on ballots is they'll get enough of these signatures to put something on the ballot to be voted on, something that your state legislative branch should be able to vote on and make their own decision. What this system does is it bypasses that portion of the governmental process. Is it a good thing? I don't think so. Why? Because in the state of Florida, when they put this high-speed monorail train that was supposed to go through the eastern portion of the state, well, I lived in the Panhandle, the western portion of Florida. It wasn't going to benefit me at all. Yet my taxpayer dollars for the state sales tax, not income tax. Florida's one of the few states that doesn't have income tax for the state. My sales tax and everything is going to pay for something that does nothing for the state as a whole. It benefits only a small area. Well, they put this item on the ballot, and they wanted to amend the Constitution with this. Amend the state constitution with a high-speed rail. Well, enough of these signatures, it got on the ballot, and guess what? People look, oh, high-speed rail. Okay, sounds cool, it's good for transportation. Vote yes. Well, the stupid thing passed. Now, millions and millions of dollars were needed. It's in the state constitution, so now it's law, and now you have to do it. Well, a couple of years later, they're all like panicking. Okay, we don't have the money for this. We can't construct it. It's not going to benefit enough people. Now the legislative branch had to vote to remove that amendment to their state constitution. So in that process, you get so many people voting on something that they really don't understand what they're voting on. Now, I know there might be some things for a state that the people should vote on particularly. Me, I think a lot of that needs to be removed out. It's one of those things. I think on that same ballot, there was the discussion about smoking in restaurants in Florida, and it was a law to ban smoking in public facilities. I had my economics teacher, Mr. Walker. Had a lot of respect for him, and he kind of turned me towards the views that I have now. A lot of I don't smoke. Uh, I personally, you know, there's all the evidence out there that it's bad for you. Whether you do it or not, that is up to you. That is a choice. Okay? Now, for a state to say you cannot smoke, okay, that is taking away your freedoms. Now, for me, not smoking smells bad to me, whatever. Smells bad to a lot of people. Okay, they don't want it around them. Okay, well then don't go in those areas that have a lot of cigarette smoke or cigar smoke. That is a freedom of choice. Now, I was kind of, okay, yeah, I'm going to vote for, it's bad. I did the, protect everyone's health idea. And when my economics teacher was telling me this is not something to vote for, and I asked why. It's like, yeah, smoking is bad for you, but you're taking away that freedom. Okay, well, people just don't go in the restaurant and smoke. So what? It needs to be the particular owner of the restaurant to make that choice. So if I own a restaurant and I don't want smoking, I should be able to decide no smoking in my restaurant. But if I own a restaurant, it should be my choice. Yep, you can smoke. I smoke, we all smoke. So if you want to come to a restaurant, they're smoking, you'll have to deal with it. We have a smoking section, non-smoking section, deal with it. So when it comes to stuff on the ballots, I have, because of, stuff I was taught in, education, my economics teacher, I learned a lot. And that's one reason why here on the radio station we put freedom first. It's about freedom of choice. For this bullet train, here in California, or this, the high-speed monorail in Florida, it should be the particular area's responsibility, their plan, their setup, their negotiations, their money needs to go through this. And it shouldn't be something that is mass voted on, because let's be honest and think about this. How many people actually do the research when it comes to voting? I mean, seriously, how many people actually do the research? Okay, there are videos after videos after videos that I watched about the last couple of elections. Okay, and the people going to vote for a certain candidate. They were not basing it on his substance, on who they were, what they had voted for, what they had supported. They voted on him for something extremely superficial. Okay, the color of somebody's skin is irrelevant. The content of their character is what's important when voting a person. The current president didn't even serve a full term as senator. Okay, so you put this guy with very little federal government experience and then put him to run the entire country in the executive branch. Okay, he campaigned for senator, and without finishing a term, he campaigned to become president. But everyone wanted the first black president, which he's not even fully black. So I don't know if you can even say that. But they got what they wanted. They got the first black president. And did they base anything on substance? No. There's video after video of people saying, I voted for Obama. I won't have to pay my mortgage anymore. I won't have to do this or that. And it's like, it's just a president. He's not the king, and this isn't slavery. You are free to choose what you do. You have the freedom of choice of who to vote for. We have one big mistake in the office right now, and we're paying for it. We have taxes haven't lowered. That's for sure. Taxes have gone up. Our spending has been out of control, trillions of dollars every year. Okay, our gross domestic product, I think, is about $1.2 trillion. Okay, Obamacare, or the Affordable Health Care Act, alone exceeds that. Not meets it, exceeds that. Obamacare is the price tag, they're like, okay, we got to keep it like less than $1 trillion, and it'll be good for the U.S. We're now past the $2 trillion mark, and the costs keep getting higher. Medicare has been cut because of the Affordable Health Care Act. Yes, Medicare. Not a lot of people know that, but it took funding away from the other programs we had that elderly people somewhat depended on and took that. That's obviously not a good thing. You still have, the unemployment benefits, Social Security, you have, the food stamps, and then you got, okay, let's throw in the DOD, all the money going to there, all the bureaucracy, the IRS, the NSA, the FBI, the CIA, all these people are needing money. Less than half of the Affordable Health Care Act is funded by our entire gross domestic product. The entire product. So that's all the money technically we make as a country. And it doesn't even cover half of the Affordable Health Care Act. That's not fiscally responsible in any shape, way, or form. So, gear this back around to California. California has pretty much been following the step of the federal government. Deficit spending. And I know some people liked the Governator, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He may have been good in movies, but his politics weren't that great. And California was in serious debt, and they still are. California is actually starting to balance somewhat of their budget, and you know why? Because they taxed marijuana and made it legal. And a huge portion of their current budget is funded by marijuana tax. So, personally, I don't think that any state should concentrate on a small area of their constituency and focus dumping in billions of dollars. This train is going to cost well over 50 billion with a B dollars. Okay, that's a lot of money that's focused between Los Angeles and San Francisco. It needs to be something, okay, you could probably give the argument. All right, Mike, San Francisco and Los Angeles don't have a lot of money, and it is transportation like the interstates, okay, between, cities. It is the state's responsibility to manage that type of transportation. Okay, here's my question. Where's that money coming from? Okay, the article that I was reading pretty much focused that money was going to come from the cap and trade tax. And billions of dollars is quite a bit. And they've already halted funding on this shenanigans already once. Even if it is a legitimate travel for the state to fund, and that's how they're classifying this. Billions of dollars. Okay, California's been running a deficit for quite a while. And that's a lot of wasted money. And personally, I don't think the Californians can afford this. Okay, what happens when a state continues to run a deficit? Well, who bails them out? Aha, there's a question. Who bails the state out when they're running a deficit? The federal government. Okay, next question. Who funds the federal government? Oh, yeah, that's right. Anybody who pays taxes. So you're telling me that I live in Alaska and I'm paying money to help fund California's deficit to build a stupid train between Los Angeles and San Francisco. Yep, that's exactly what I'm saying. You could live all the way in Miami, Florida. Yep, your taxes, federal government, is helping to pay for this. Now, personally, I'd be a little outraged. Okay, California, you need to get your act together. Okay, I'm not blaming everyone in California as a liberal, but California as a state is a liberal state. There's a lot of liberal policies. Taxes are outrageous. If I bought the size house I live in now, okay, it's about an 1,800 square foot house, and if I were to buy this in downtown San Francisco, this house would be worth about $1 million. Am I paying $1 million now? No, I don't have that kind of money. I work just like most of you do. So the money comes from, Californian residents. Okay, well, California can't afford it, so then it goes to the federal government, and everyone's paying for it. It's a lot of waste of money. Speaking on the waste of money, got the Affordable Health Care Act. I know I've talked about this and talked about this and talked about this on the program, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but obviously the Affordable Health Care Act has been a dismal failure. And one of my news articles, the state of Oregon has had to shut down its state exchanges for the affordable health care because it's fiscally irresponsible. They're spending millions of dollars on this thing. Millions. So this millions of dollars that they were spending on, they had to set up their website, the exchange, all that, and then they're funding. It's $5 million that they would save if they did this a different way. But they're still spending like $60 million a year on this website just for the exchange. Okay, so not only are all of us taxpayers paying for the Affordable Health Care Act and the huge exchange for the entire government, but the local state exchanges, we're paying for those too. So the government's pretty much double dipping on us. Okay, government's paying for the whole shebang, and then each state is having to pay for their smaller exchanges. So the price tag of $2 trillion for the Affordable Health Care Act, that's just at the federal level. That's not talking about the state level. And the state level is out of control as well. And Oregon finally said, okay, we can't afford this. We're not getting anywhere near the amount of people signed up that we need to in order to make this a viable option. And for those of you who have signed up, you're more than likely in about, I think, every single state, just about every single state, you're paying more for the insurance than you used to. So not only are you paying more in taxes, you get your state taxes, which is also paying for this thing, and then your healthcare costs have gone up. So you're paying for this thing 3 times. Your healthcare, insurance, your state taxes, and your federal taxes. 3 times you're hit with this. So what are we actually getting out of it? Nothing. And here's the thing. Should the government be concentrating on small interests? No, they should not be. Plain simple. They talked about all the Americans that were uninsured. Okay, yeah, there were Americans that were uninsured. Did all of them want health insurance? Did all of them need health insurance? Okay, technically, you didn't all need health insurance. Technically. Because according to the Hippocratic Oath, okay, if you need life-saving surgery, you go to the ER, you get life-saving surgery. Oh no, we can't see you don't have insurance. Okay, so you die in the emergency room and the hospital gets sued. Okay, so obviously that doesn't happen. So the system wasn't broke to begin with. They made it seem broke so they could have a, quote, fix for it. Now, there was another article that went on this week about, it was about the affirmative action case that was going on in, I believe it was Michigan, if I remember correctly. But the issue was, okay, affirmative action pretty much spells out, and I'll spell it out for everyone, is that you cannot discriminate against people because of their race or ethnic background. For, this is specifically deemed about colleges, okay? state-funded or federally funded universities, colleges, were pretty much the rule was that they couldn't give special scholarships to those of a specific race or ethnic background. Okay, if it's a private school, that's their own business. That's freedom. Okay, if you want to have special scholarships, that's not coming from a state or the federal government, because federally you shouldn't be able to discriminate, period. I should have an equal chance to earn, the scholarship that anybody else does. Well, the hardcore liberal Sotomayor, she was all upset, that we're discriminating against those of minorities because we're not giving them an equal chance. Oh my goodness, I flipped a lid. Okay, an equal chance. Okay, if let's use this for sake of example. You weigh 300 pounds. I weigh 100 pounds. Okay, the object is to run 200 yards. Whoever gets there the fastest wins. Okay, we have equal opportunity. You start at the same starting line I do. The gun goes off at the same time, and we're both running. Okay, who do you think is going to get there first? The 300-pound guy or the 100-pound guy? Okay, more than likely it's going to be the 100-pound guy. Unless maybe he's got a broke leg or the 300-pound guy sits on him. Yeah, that story is ridiculous, but an equal opportunity. They had the same starting line. They had the same ability to get the same shoes, running, training, anything to win that race. Now, what Sotomayor is wanting is that the 300-pound guy gets special treatment. Okay, well, we know it's a 200-yard race, and we'll give him a minute head start so he can get down there, and that way when the skinny guy goes, that way it'll be a closer race, and that way it's fair. Is that fair? Okay, who judges fairness? I mean, honestly, who is supposed to be the judge of fairness? Well, what's fair to me might not be fair to you. Okay, I'm the skinny guy, and you're the heavyset person. Okay, we're both having to get to the same goal. If you get a minute head start, you're going to be there probably before I am. Is that fair to me? Do we have equal chances? No, you now have a better chance because you have a shorter time to go. Or you've been given that extra time that I'm not given. So that is discrimination in my book. And here's what that is actually telling you. Let's say I'm the 300-pound guy, you're the 100-pound guy. What is that telling me? If I get that minute head start, that means the people who are giving me that 1 minute head start, they have no faith in my abilities. They don't think I can make it on my own and need help, and that I'm inferior to the 100-pound guy. That is what they're saying by this. So let's say you're African American and you're going to apply for the scholarship. Okay? They think that you're inferior. You don't have the same chances as the white dude. So to give you that opportunity, they make a special scholarship just for you so you have a chance to succeed like the white guy. Is that fair to either of you? No. Okay, the black guy is getting cheated because he's looked down upon because he doesn't have the skills to make it, and they view you as inferior because they don't think you can do it. Well, I'm sorry. Last time somebody said, I don't think you can handle it, I proved them wrong. Sorry, Justice Sotomayor, but you're wrong. Everyone should have an equal chance. I agree with that. But to give people special chances is completely different. We are not a country built on entitlements. Okay? You are not entitled to anything. The only thing that we are guaranteed in the Declaration of Independence, which is pretty much us telling England to go, kiss our bums and leave us alone, we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. We are not entitled to anything. The only thing you're entitled to is to work hard, do your best, and to seek prosperity. Okay, that's what you're entitled to. You're not entitled to sit on your butt at home, soaking in the government paycheck, food stamps, going out and surfing every day. You're not entitled to that. You need to work. What did John Smith say in the founding of, I think it was
Jamestown.
Okay, they were trying a socialist ideology. Everybody work. Everybody's going to work. And then we'll put all the foods and stuff together, and then we'll split it all up evenly. Well, what happened? Oh, well, my leg hurts. I can't go out to the field today. But that month, you still got the same amount of food. Oh, well, I hurt my foot. I'm not going to go out. Next month, you still got food. Meanwhile, Joe, his back is killing him. He's tired. He's worn out. And he's working, and he's getting the same food the guy who's not doing anything. So what does he do? He gets tired of pulling the weight. So what does he do? He stops working. Now you have an entire town of people who don't want to work. Well, nobody works. No food's harvested. No food harvested, nobody eats. Nobody eats, everybody dies. So it was pretty much said, okay, you don't work, you don't eat. Oh, magically, Joe's foot is feeling so much better, and his leg, man, he's working out harder than everyone else. Why? Because he is seeing as fruit of his labor, and if you don't work, you don't get anything. And I think that's how it should be back in America. Okay? I can understand a little bit of the unemployment, paid by an employer. That's one thing. But you shouldn't have unemployment for months and months and months and months. Okay, that is ridiculous. Okay, there are people who just go out there, blow interviews off just to get the check. I'm sorry, pal, it shouldn't work like that. You don't work, you don't get the dough. Okay, if you can't work, there's all these charities and stuff that will be there to help take care of you. That can take care of you. Okay, it's not the government's job to take care of anybody. It's the government's job to protect the citizens of the United States, not to provide for them. That's where the government misstepped. Thank you, FDR, and all the presidents before and after who have added to that. Government is there to protect, not to provide. So, going on that ideology, let's flip it back to that train thing in California. Is it necessarily the state's job to provide that transportation for a few? No, it's not. It's not their job specifically to provide transportation for a few. Okay, yeah, it may get a lot of business. Okay, where's the money coming from? You got all these people that are going to end up using the train. Is it going to be free? If it's free, okay, well, you're never going to get your money back. You got to have people to maintain this thing and all this. All that comes from somewhere. And there was that story of the surfer dude that was out there, I think it was California. He eats lobster at least a couple times a week, sitting there living off welfare, not having to work. I'm sorry, you shouldn't eat if you don't work. Being laid off a job is one thing. My brother's been laid off of a job. I've not had a job before. You know, a lot of people have felt not having a job. Okay? But in order for you to get something, out of it, you actually have to work. It's not just a handout. You need to work to get it. I'm one of those people, I can't sit at home and do nothing. I'm just not built that way. But apparently, in a society we've raised where people don't take responsibility for their own actions, they think they're entitled to free stuff. And that is where we have failed as a society. You have the freedom to work and freedom not to work. What are the consequences if you work? You get paid. Yeah, you could get hurt, but you get to see money, you get to eat what you want, do what you want. Okay? Freedom of choice, what if you choose not to work? You shouldn't get the same benefits as the guy who chose to work. Okay, you don't work, you should go hungry. Might say, Mike, that's a little barbaric, that's a little hardcore. Yeah,
But it worked in Jamestown.
fixed a lot of problems. Everybody worked and everyone pulled their weight. Now here in America, we have almost half our population that doesn't work. Half. Think one of the Scandinavian countries. They're at like 60 to 70% unemployment. Okay, that means a handful of people work for everybody else. Is that fair to those who have to work? No, it's not. And we have ceased becoming the great nation we are when we cease to work hard. Well, that's all we have time here, folks. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here on the program today. If you have any questions for myself or for any guests planned on the program, if you'd like to talk about a particular subject or to have a special guest from a certain area on the program, you can send me an email at miked@erttradio.com. Doing our work is good. It's not bad. And we appreciate those who work hard and do well. And we're not entitled to anything. And remember, as always, live free and die free.